Hello to my beautiful queens and kings out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your general forecast for May 2025. Okay, we have in April, we had the last Leo in Mars and Pluto in Aries in Aquarius opposition. It's the last of three. And, Aquarius and Pluto is about freedom, power to the people. And here in the States, we are watching our government system start to break down. So this is the beginning of what we see Aquarius and Pluto changing for us in our lives going forward. I know a lot of you may have heard, some of the things that's going on with the new president and what he's what he is implementing and signing off on for, the people in the U.S., which is not, the best thing right now. But the dismantling of the system is happening, and I can see how Pluto and Aquarius is working through this process. So there are going to be many transitions. However, it ain't no stopping us now. Okay, so with that Pluto opposition, the tension is gradually easing. Now this could be on a personal note because we all have that opposition in our charts. And I know for myself, I've had the last opposition was tumultuous. And this particular opposition, it has quieted itself down. However, I have some revelations about, things that are done behind the scenes. But not to worry because it's not my problem. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to look at the full moon in Scorpio that's happening on the 12th and the new moon in Gemini happening on the 26th. The sun, the moon, and Mercury will meet in Gemini in the month of May. Okay, and that'll be towards the end when the sun enters Gemini. All right, and Pluto turns retrograde on the 4th of May. And again, as I said, the tension between Mars and Leo and Pluto and Aquarius is gradually easing up, okay? Now, the other big news is this month of May, Saturn ingress to Aries on the 24th with Neptune and Venus there. Okay, Saturn and Neptune will meet in July, and in September, Saturn will return back to Pisces, and Neptune moves back into Pisces in the middle of October of this year, where they both will stay in Pisces until February of 2026. And then, we'll start to see the conjunctions and the different variations of these two outer planets have in store for us. Okay, so I'm excited, and I know there's going to be a lot of changes, especially with Saturn in Aries. We know that there are the government structure is breaking down here in the U.S., and part of that, has to do with Saturn as well, because Saturn is the government and that masculine authority energy, and it's in the sign of Aries. So we already know that Saturn is not taking the changes lightly, and with Aries going head first, we could see problems, wars somewhere. I'm not sure where, but that is the implications for me, looking at Saturn in Aries. Okay, so this is what I have for you for, the overview for this month of May. And I'm wearing my queenly crown because I'm a May person, and this is my solar return year, the day that I was born. So I just thought I'd show up queenly. So now let's get into the forecast, and I'll see you on the other side, okay? Hello, Aries rising people out there. Welcome to Astro Cheryl. And this is your forecast for May 2025. Now, as we move into the first part of May, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in the sign of Aries. And this is happening in your first house, Aries rising, okay? This is your house of self, personality, physical body, and appearances. So you may get lost in your own fantasies or dreams, and that's partly because Neptune is here in this placement. You may have a strong desire for romantic connections, and that's Venus. You may have a deep appreciation for the art, again, Venus, music, and beauty in all forms. It's possible that this transit may lead to misunderstandings or disillusionment, and that's part of Neptune's fog, okay? So on the 12th, we have this full moon in Scorpio, and this is happening in your 8th house of death, taxes, inheritances, shared finances, psychological issues, trauma, sex, fears, power, and control. Okay, and if I didn't say partners' finances and other people's money, that's all a part of this 8th house, okay? Your emotions may be intense because that's part of the Scorpio energy. And you may have to face your deepest fears and anxieties and address your hidden truths that comes to light. This is the time to release old patterns, attachments, and limiting beliefs that allows for transformation. Okay, so you have a lot on your plate, Aries rising, but you can do this. Now on the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and this is happening in your 2nd house of finances, material possessions, savings, and your attitude towards money, self-worth, and your values, okay? There could be unexpected financial fluctuations, sudden income gains or losses, or a reevaluation of how you earn a living. You may want to explore alternative career pursuits, unconventional business ventures, or find creative ways of generating income. You may be moving to a new living situation as well, okay, because Uranus is that freedom loving energy, and things happen suddenly, like a bolt of lightning, all right, that you didn't see coming. On the 20th, we have the sun entering Gemini in your third house of siblings, extended family, neighbors, neighborhood, community, short distance travel, let's see, early education and communication. Okay? So with the sun entering into Gemini in your third house, Mercury is also going to be there, and with the new moon is also going to be there. So we'll talk more about the sun and Gemini. Okay? All right. So on the 25th, we have Saturn entering into your sign, Aries, in your first house of self. Okay? This is your personality, your physical body, your appearance, how other people see you, how you feel about yourself. So during this transit, you may feel a need to reassess your values, what's important to you. Identify areas in your life that need improvement and make significant changes to your personal identity. And part of that significance is because Saturn is here, and Saturn is always wanting to make sure that we get things right. Okay? So let's see. You may need to address past patterns, shedding old habits, and embrace a more authentic you. Okay? So this is kind of a theme for you, Aries, where the the urge to change and let go of the old so you can bring in something new that's happening. Okay, so we have Mercury, and Mercury rules Gemini. Okay, and the sun is in Gemini, right? So Mercury enters Gemini in your third house, and this is on the 26th, which for some reason, I don't have but that doesn't matter. And this is in your third house of siblings, extended family, neighbors, neighborhood, community, short distance travel, early education, and communication. Okay, so the new moon in Gemini is in your third house as well. So this is where I'm going to discuss, because pretty much with Mercury in Gemini, the sun in Gemini, they're pretty much talking about the same thing, except for, when the sun is in Gemini, this is generally pointing to, your career. Okay? But in the third house, during this time, you may find yourself spending more time with siblings and close friends. This is a good time to express yourself, learn new things, and engage in conversations, because Gemini is that social butterfly and wants to, get around and have things to say and laugh and have a good time. So this is a good time for you to do that if you can, Aries rising. Okay, you may have the urge to write, read, or share your ideas with others. You see opportunities to expand your horizons and learn something new. Okay? So this is good. If you are ready for this, then, everything is a go. And I encourage you to open yourself up more, especially with this lively Gemini energy, to take some of the, put a little more pep in your step, so to speak. So, Aries rising, this is your forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Taurus risings out there. Hi. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. Hope you listen to my introduction. It'll give you a little bit more information about what's happening for the month of May. But for myself, I'm wearing my crown because this is my solar birth year. So this year, my birthday will be on the day that I was born. Yay for me! So that's why you see me in my queenly attire. Okay? So Taurus rising. We have a full moon in Scorpio on May the 12th and a new moon in Gemini on May 26th. The sun, the moon, and Mercury will meet in Gemini towards the end of the month. Pluto turns retrograde on May 4th, and the tensions between Mars and Leo and Pluto and Aquarius is gradually easing. So, this is the third and last round of this Mars-Pluto opposition until another 2 years. Okay? So this month, this is the big picture. Saturn ingresses into Aries on the 24th with Neptune, who's already entered there, and Venus. Okay? Saturn and Neptune will meet in July, and in September, Saturn returns to Pisces, and Neptune moves back into Pisces in the middle of October, where they both will stay in Pisces until February 2026. Then they move back into Aries and will stay there for the next, couple of years. Okay? So that is just another aspect of what we have to deal with in our lives and in society. Okay? And with Saturn moving into Aries, Saturn wants things to stay the same, but our government is dismantling here in the U.S. So, it's hard for Saturn to not be upset about it and cause, some type of friction. What that looks like, I can't say right now, but I see what Pluto in Aquarius is creating in order to break through to, that new, fresh energy that we so dearly need. Okay? So on the 2nd of May, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries, and this is in your 12th house, Taurus rising. The 12th house is the house of endings, loss, spirituality, subconscious mind, your dreams, places that are hidden enemies, hospitals, brothels, and prisons. Okay, so during this transit, you may find it difficult to express or understand your feelings right now. Excuse me. Because Neptune is there. And Neptune, it's a deep spiritual planet, but it also can confuse because of the depths in which it takes us, and our minds are not always equipped to really go that deep. So with this, you may, have those feelings of not understanding, why you are experiencing this. But a lot of the 12th house work is subconscious work. And with that subconscious work in the background, you know, you can work through it easily. Like sometimes you can work through your issues through your dreams instead of in the daytime where you have to actually work it out through another person. Okay? That can be difficult having to have confrontations with people about things that are going on that you need to address because that's how it works when we are letting go of things. A lot of times people are put in our path so that we can work through it with those people. And when we're done, then, they're no longer there. So, subconscious energy here, and you may feel a strong sense of empathy and compassion towards others and a desire for deeper spiritual connections. And that's a good thing, all right? Because we have Venus here, and Venus is about, the compassion, energy, and more empathy and love for others. Your psychic senses, that's also 12th house energy, may be heightened, and your dreams may be more insightful now. Okay, alone time, it will make you feel better. So being by yourself and, you know, retrospecting on, some of the things that come up for you, you can handle that, by yourself. Okay? You may have a romantic and idealistic view of love. So just, be careful with Neptune. And this is a transit. Okay? So it'll be there for a couple of months because Venus will stay in Aries for a while. But once she moves on, then things will look different. Okay? Establish healthy emotional boundaries in relationships because Neptune is boundless, and be aware of potential manipulative or exploitative tendencies in your relationship ships. So, you could be dealing with someone who wants to, take advantage. And there is a possibility that there could be a secret love affair happening for you because the 12th house is hidden. Venus is about relationships and love, okay? So we're going to move on to the 12th. The full moon in Scorpio in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, contractual agreements, negotiations, and open enemies. Okay? This intensity of this full moon may lead to possessiveness, jealousy, because that's Scorpio energy, and a need for control in relationships. You may come to crossroads in your current situation, or a new connection may come to life. Okay? So your intuition may shed light on your emotions and that of your partners as well, which may lead to emotional growth, because once you learn, how you operate and how they respond, then that's where the change can happen if you're up for it. Okay? And on the 17th, the Sun conjuncts Uranus in Taurus, and this is in your first house of self, your physical body, your personality, your appearance, and your dominant traits. Okay, so during this transit, you may have a strong sense of individuality and a desire to break free from tradition. That's the Uranian energy. Uranian is freedom loving. It does not like to conform to tradition. So that's where the breaking free from tradition is coming from. You may resist authority and prefer to forge your own path in life. You may have strong leadership qualities and the ability to inspire others as well. So that's promising. But just remember, with Taurus is that earth energy. So whatever it is that you want to do, you have to start planning it, okay? So be strategic in your planning and move forward that way. So on the 20th, we have the Sun in Gemini in your second house of finances, okay? And that is material possessions, self-worth, your value system, and savings. And on the 25th, we have Saturn enters Aries in your 12th house. Did I do something that I shouldn't have? Oh, no, I didn't. I did. Yeah. And this is your house of endings, loss, spirituality, subconscious, dreams, places that are hidden, hospitals, your hidden enemies, brothels, and prisons. Okay, during this transit, this can be a time for personal growth and spiritual growth, okay? You are also urged to be mindful and pay close attention to your finances and your health, all right? Because, Saturn can indicate, health issues, inflammation. Aries also is an inflammatory sign, so just take care of your health. There is also the potential for travel and a need for disciplined decision making. That's that Saturn energy, okay? So on the 26th, we have Mercury entering Gemini in your second house, and we've already discussed that with the Sun, because this is where the Sun, Mercury, and the new moon are meeting. Okay, so during this transit, you may experience a heightened focus on financial matters. Opportunity for financial gain are highlighted, such as increased income, new job offers, or advancements in your career. This is a good time for strategic planning, budgeting, and reviewing your financial goals. Okay? So, with Gemini new moon in your second house as well, you may experience ups and downs with your finances, because that is the energy of the moon, okay? Your thought process is centered around material wealth and security. You may have a talent for money-related matters at this time that requires clear communication and fast decision-making skills. Investing in multiple ventures may be of benefit, okay? Because, that's that mercurial energy happening with this new moon in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, and it is quick, fast thinker, can make money moves, quick, and keep you on target. So, Taurus rising. This is your forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello, my beautiful Gemini risings. Welcome to my channel, A Magnificent Flow. This is your general reading for May 2025. And this is my crown, because May is my solar return. and the day that I was born happens for me this year. So I'm wearing my queenly crown. I hope you like it. Okay, so let's get into your forecast. So Gemini rising, the full moon in Scorpio is on May 12th, and the new moon in Gemini is on May 26th. And that new moon is going to be in your first house, okay? So we have the sun, the moon, and Mercury will meet in Gemini, all in your first house, okay? Pluto turns retrograde on May 4th, and the tension between the Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius opposition is gradually easing up. Thank goodness. I mean, you know, that was an hard opposition. So I'm glad things are lightening up for us right now. But, you know, in 2 years, we'll experience another opposition similar to this. However, the big, you know, haha moment is Saturn ingressing to Aries. And this is happening on the 24th, where Neptune is already there and Venus is already there. Okay? Saturn and Neptune will meet in July, close conjunction, but not exact. However, in September, Saturn returns to Pisces, and Neptune moves back into Pisces in the middle of October, where they both will stay in Pisces until February 2026. Okay, and then after that, that's when we'll start to see them make their conjunction moves and see how that's gonna work out, you know, in the sign of Aries. Because Aries is fire and Neptune is water. So when they conjunct, again, we're gonna get what? Steam, okay? All right, so on the 2nd, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries in your 11th house of friends, groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuits, social media, social support, social recognition, hopes, and wishes. Okay, and this is a good placement for you, Gemini rising, because you're a social butterfly. You know, you like being around people, you like, you know, having that communication. So during this transit, you may experience deep friendships that feels like romantic connections because Venus is here and she's going to take it a little deeper. Or it could lead to romantic relationships that feel like a dream come true. But again, you know, we have Neptune, and Neptune is not giving us the clear picture, okay? So you may have a strong sense of optimism and the future and the potential for finding love within your social work network. You know, and that again, that is possible too, but you just have to try to find a way to ground, because if you don't, you know, you may be thinking that it's going to be more than it turns out to be. Okay? So just, you know, take note of that. It's fun having fun, and just do that until Venus moves, you know, into another sign, or when she's not conjunct with Neptune. Okay, so on May 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio in your 6th house of health, nutrition, your daily routine, your work, your co-workers, your subordinates, and your workplace. Okay? So you may be deeply invested in your daily tasks at this time, because Scorpio is like that deep thinker, keeping things to themselves and wanting to have a better understanding of their purpose in their work environment in this case. Okay? So you are, you're invested in your daily tasks and routines, seeking a deeper meaning in what you do. Stress or health issues may arise, and you may experience potential power struggles or conflicts in your work environment. Okay, so just know that this full moon in Scorpio can cause you to have create fear. And also, I know that Gemini energy is, is shaky. It has that the shaky energy. So, and you want to, it has that movement energy that they always want to be doing. But for the most part, with their hands, they may have that nervous energy there. And that's how you understand how the stress is working through your body. Okay, so on the 12th, Gemini rising, Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 12th house. And this is your house of endings, undoing, spirituality, subconscious dreams, places that are hidden, hospitals, brothels, prisons. Okay, this may bring a desire for freedom, independence, and change to the forefront of your mind. Okay, you may have a strong intuition and a deep understanding of the subconscious mind at this time, knowing how it works. Okay, you may question traditional values, because that's Uranus is, tearing down structures and societal structures, pushing for new and innovative approaches. Okay, so this is in your 12th house, and it's a thought process right now, because in the 12th house is usually a place where you want to have some alone time to think through some of the concepts that are whirling around you right now, and how you, fit into it. So this is the house of retreat as well. So take your time, have some time alone, and, do that introspective thinking about what is right for you. So on the 20th, we have the Sun enters Gemini in your first house of self, personality, appearance, early life. We also have Mercury and the new moon in Gemini in your first house. So we'll talk about that when we get to the 26th. Right now we're at the 25th. Saturn enters Aries in your 11th house of friends, groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuit, internet, social media, social support, social recognition, your hopes and wishes. And again, this is your lively place, Gemini rising, because this is where all the people are. And you just love to be that social connection with, people around you. So during this transit, you may actively pursue your aspirations and work on long-term goals. And, the long-term goals has to do with Saturn, putting you in a place where you can ground things into reality and make them happen, manifest, okay? You may be drawn towards people who are reliable and industrious. In your social and professional life, you may take on more responsibility and commitments. You may take on a more mature and responsible approach as well to life at this time, because Saturn is that, old adult energy driving us to become more self-reliant, more mature, and responsible. Okay, so Mercury enters Gemini on the 26th, and this is the house of your first house, right? Of self, personality, appearance, early life. So during this transit, you may feel more confident in expressing yourself and more open to new ideas and perspectives, which is good because, you shine, with Mercury here. You may be drawn to activities that stimulate your mind and encourages communication. So great. This is Mercury, so you are in your element, Gemini rising. So we have this new moon in Gemini as well. And during this transit, you are more attuned to intuition, your inner voice, and your gut feelings. Okay, so just rock. Rock with all of that, because that is giving you some insight to help you move forward with what you want to create for yourself right now. Okay, you may tend to overlook things and become more restless, okay? And, that's that Gemini energy and that overthinking. And then with the new moon here, that's an emotional part of you. You're encouraged to balance your mental activity with grounded actions. Okay, instead of keeping it up here, you want to do something about it. Okay? During this time, you can express your feelings and your needs clearly. So, hey, do something about it. Don't just keep it in your head. Get it out there in the, voice your opinion out there in the world, okay? So Gemini rising, this should be a fun month for you because this is first house energy and it's all about you, okay? It'll just be you for your birthday. For the, when the sun moves into the sign of Gemini. I know you're Gemini rising, but your sun may be, another sign. So anyway, enjoy your month. Have a good time. And until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Cancer risings out there. Welcome to my channel, A Magnificent Flow. And this is Sharon with Astro Cheryl. I said a Magnificent Flow. I have those two handles, okay? But I'm transitioning into Astro Cheryl. All right? So with your forecast for May 2025, let's get into it. Okay, so we start with, we have the full moon in Scorpio on May 12th. We have the new moon in Gemini on May 26th. The sun, moon, and Mercury will meet in Gemini around the 26th. Around the 26th of May. Pluto turns retrograde on May 4th, and the tension between Mars and Leo and Pluto and Aries is gradually easing. The highlight of the month is Saturn ingressing to Aries on the 24th, with Neptune and Venus, who are already there, which are already there. Saturn and Neptune will meet in July, and in September, Saturn returns to Pisces and Neptune moves back into Pisces in the mid of October. where they both will stay in Pisces until February 2026. Okay, so that's your overview. And on May 2nd, we start with Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries, and this is happening in your 10th house of career, public reputation, authority, figures, occupation, and leadership. This is the time to align your career with your higher purpose. Cancer rising. Moving in this direction brings you fulfillment and recognition through your creative expression and service to others. All right. So on May 12th, we have a full moon in Scorpio, and this is happening in your 5th house of children, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression. You may feel a deep love for the arts. You may feel the need to care for others and nurture their creative expression, especially if children are involved. You may want to connect with them on an emotional level as well. Time to reflect on existing relationships and explore new romantic possibilities. Reflecting may reveal deeper emotional needs and desires. That's, the Scorpio energy is, a deeply feeling energy. Okay? And you may be going through some things right now too, but, connecting with your children if they are involved on an emotional level is, that's promising, that's positive. So they know how you feel and you know how they feel, okay? So on the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and this is happening in your 11th house of friends, groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuits, social media, social recognition, hopes and dreams. During this transit, you may attract friends who share your unconventional views and values. You may be drawn to causes that challenge the status quo. You may desire genuine, nonconformist connections with others, okay? Unexpected changes in social circles can lead to shifts in friendships or social dynamics. Okay, on the 20th, the Sun enters Gemini in your 12th house of endings, loss, spirituality, subconscious, dreams, places that are hidden, hospitals, brothels, temples, and prisons. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So on the 25th, we have Saturn enters Aries in your 10th house of career, public reputation, authority figures, occupation, and leadership. So during this transit, you may be pushed to work harder and build a strong professional foundation to advance professionally if that's what you are looking for. Saturn is always going to push you. It may not feel good. It may not be the happy place, but it's definitely going to benefit you in the long run. So you may experience changes in your work environment. Your job role may change, or you may experience a shift in your career. So, if you're looking at that, then just know that whatever changes that happens to you is happening for you, okay? And just continue to go with the flow. You may gain more responsibility and authority that requires you to demonstrate your leadership qualities as well. Okay, so Cancer rising, there's a lot going on in your workplace, okay? And you are up for the challenge. It's just, deciding what it is that you want. Is this, the place that you want to be, or do you want to be somewhere else? So that's what is happening for you now. All right, so next we have Mercury on the 26th enters Gemini, where the sun is, okay? And we also have the new moon in Gemini on the 26th. So let's look at Mercury, and this is in your 12th house. So this is the hidden house where things are done behind the scenes, and your subconscious mind gets involved. Okay, so this is the 12th house of endings, loss, spirituality, subconscious, dreams, places that are hidden, hospitals, brothels, temples, and prisons. During this transit, you may have a deeper understanding of yourself and your motivations. And remember, you're ruled by the moon, and the moon is also about things that are hidden. Okay, so you kind of you understand that process, Cancer risings. You have a raised awareness of your spiritual needs and your need for self-care, okay? You find solitude in connecting with your higher self and to process your thoughts and feelings, your dreams, your visions, and your insights. Okay, so this is a place where you may want to be alone, during this Mercury entering Gemini in your 12th house. Okay, and we have the new moon in Gemini in your 12th house as well. Okay, and you may enjoy some alone time. You may also find time to do some research or learn something new. Okay, you may have a rich internal life filled with dreams. We sometimes, water signs, we have that. We can dream big and beautiful things. You may also have intuitive insights because this is a psychic house as well. And Cancer rising with the moon, that's also an intuitive, the moon is an intuitive energy as well. So you may have experienced that intuitive ability of yours. You may have already tapped into it. So here it's, giving you even more insight as to, what it is that you want to work through or let go of, or what you want to create. This is what's happening, and the new moon in the 12th house is about, setting your intentions on creating something new for yourself. Okay? So this position urges you to balance your intellectual pursuits with your emotional introspections. Okay? So just balance those two. You're being in your head and then having, being in your feelings. Where are you more? Are you more in your feelings, or are you more in your head? Wherever you are, you need to create some balance there so that the reality of it all can show through. Okay? So Cancer rising, this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello, Leo risings. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your forecast for May 2025. Okay, Leo, we're going to move right into May 2nd. We have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries in your 9th house. Okay, and this is the house of religion, philosophy, your ethic, your morals, your belief system, higher education, foreign cultures and travel, publishing and teaching. Okay? So this is that, higher mind. You may be drawn towards mystical or esoteric teachings to expand your consciousness and deepen your connection to the divine. And as we already know, Neptune is that spiritual connection that we have to the higher consciousness. Okay, so this sitting in the ninth house where your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs are all there, makes this an excellent placement right now for you to, expand your consciousness because you have the information there. We have Venus here as well, trying to help you see the beauty in it all. Okay, Venus is also rules Libra, and Libra is about connections, relationships as well. So, you might find a guru, during this transit, someone who can help you find ways to make that connection with your higher self happen. Okay? So, on May 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio, and this happens in your fourth house of home, childhood, family, property, parents, ancestors, retirement years. This transit may bring on intense conversations or conflict within the family. Full moons are often, outbursts of energy. And with Scorpio being that intense, and please, with a Scorpio and arguments, they do snap, okay? So there we have it. You may have conflict within the family. You may start renovations. You may move, or you may make significant changes to your home that may lead to emotional upheaval or a new sense of security. One way or the other, something is got to give. You may feel the need to explore your emotional wounds, your childhood experiences, or feelings of belonging, because this is your fourth house of, where you were raised, how you were treated, how, your parents treated you, and how safe you felt in your fourth house. Okay, so, with the full moon in Scorpio, Scorpio is, is that transformative energy where things come from deep within. So you might be pulling on some old childhood thoughts, and, they may come out in a way that it may not be mature, but they'll come out nonetheless. So it's up to you to, recognize that for yourself and address how you're going to handle that. Sometimes people are on automatic and they just automatically respond to stimuli instead of taking the stop, listen, think, and then act. Okay? But, that fire energy, that's a tendency. All right, so on the 17th, we have the Sun in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And this is happening in your 10th house of career, public reputation, authority figures, occupation, and leadership. During this time, You may have a progressive and forward-thinking mindset. That has a lot to do with the Uranian energy. You may experience unexpected career changes or opportunities. You express yourself in ways that shows your leadership abilities and shows that you're not afraid to challenge the status quo. There is also a tendency to be impatient or restless if things don't change fast enough. Okay, and that's all Uranian energy there, okay? And the sun is your vitality. So on the 20th, we have the sun entering into your 11th house of friends, and the sun is moving into Gemini at this time. Groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuits, internet communication, social recognition, hopes and wishes. Okay, so we're going to have on the 26th, we'll have Mercury and the new moon moving into Gemini in your 11th house, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so on the 25th, we have the sun entering Aries in your ninth house of religion, your ethic, morals, belief system, higher education, and foreign cultures and travel, publishing and teaching. You may be having that's Saturn. Saturn is always serious about the work that needs to get done. You may have some serious thoughts about collecting more information on religion, philosophy, or spirituality. And it's more than likely your spirituality. But, the options are there. You may be drawn to intellectual pursuits or take on challenging educational goals. This is also the house of teaching, okay, and higher learning. This transit may shed light on your relationship with your father. That's Saturnian energy. And this is a house of gurus, authority figures as well. Let's see. And the areas where you struggle with authority or where you need to take on more responsibility. You may be rethinking your beliefs, values, and purpose at this time. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack, especially with the issues with your father and how that translate in reality with the other authority figures that you come in contact with. So on the 26th, we have Mercury in Gemini, and again, this is in your 11th house of groups, memberships, your social support, hopes, and wishes. This may be a time to improve your communication skills, network with others, and explore new opportunities through your social connections. Because we have Mercury rules Gemini. So this is a good opportunity to, get out there because people are paying attention to you now. You have that Gemini butterfly effect, that happy-go-lucky, that fun, vibrating energy. So use it to your advantage. And also on the 26th, we have the new moon in Gemini in your 11th house of friends as well. You may feel an emotional bond to your friends and wider social circle. This exchange of ideas, well, not this, but the exchange of ideas in a group setting may help you feel more fulfilled, okay? You may take an interest in group efforts and collective causes that involve communication or education. Okay, that's a good idea with this new moon. That may help you look at some of the skills, some other skills that you have available to you that would be of benefit in the long run. Okay, so Leo rising, this is your forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Virgo risings out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro, and this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. So I am wearing my queenly crown this month because I am having my solar return here in the month of May. So the day that I was born is where my birthday is the day that my birthday will be on this year. So happy birthday to me. But anyway, let's move into your forecast. So we have on the 2nd, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in the sign of Aries in your 8th house of death, rebirth, transformation, intimacy, sex, trauma, philosophical issues, fears, power and control, partners' finances, debt, taxes, inheritance, investment, occult, and other people's money. Okay? That's a lot to unpack for Virgo rising. You are encouraged to embrace your vulnerability and surrender to the mysteries of love and transformation. Just know that, okay? Because you generally want to, box everything up. So, and, hide off, wall off things, like the hermit that isolates. But, okay, here with this Venus conjunction, you can experience some love, even if it's self-love, okay? But anyway, in the 8th house, it has to do with, a partner, if you have a partner, Virgo rising. All right, so the full moon in Scorpio is in your 3rd house of siblings, extended family, neighbors, neighborhood, community, short distance travel, early education, and communication. You may experience a heightened emotional intensity in your communication. That's the full moon in Scorpio. And your interactions with others. You may feel the need to share your deepest thoughts and feelings, or you may experience dramatic shifts in your relationships with siblings and or neighbors. Hidden resentments or emotions may show up in the way you speak, okay? So other people can see that. Just saying. On the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus in your 9th house of religion, philosophy, ethics, beliefs, higher education, foreign cultures, foreign travel, publishing, and teaching. Okay? This transit shows a need for spiritual growth and the need for you to expand your understanding of the world at this time. Okay? There is the potential for unconventional beliefs and a willingness to change traditional values, especially in the areas of philosophy, religion, and higher education. And remember, this house is also the house of your spirituality as well. You may desire to explore new cultures, travel, and learn other perspectives. You may break free of rigid thoughts rigid thought patterns and embrace new ways of thinking and living. And I see this as a positive. This is, growth. And when you can tap into your higher self and start to make the necessary changes that you need to become more of your authentic self, that's when the universe starts to give what you deserve. Okay? So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Gemini in your 10th house of career, public reputation, authority figures, occupation, and leadership. Now we'll have, on the 26th, we'll have Mercury and the new moon entering Gemini in the 10th house as well. So we'll get to that in a minute. On the 25th, we have Saturn enters Aries in your 8th house of death, rebirth, transformation. Okay, so your communication may be direct, may be aggressive because of that Aries energy when discussing sensitive topics. Okay, you may be willing to confront uncomfortable matters of the heart, which is, a plus. You may make quick financial decisions or take risks related to investments or joint ventures. That's Aries acting before thinking. Addressing deep-seated emotional issues or confront hidden truths related to relationships, power and control dynamics, and spiritual growth can be transforming. Okay, so this is what's happening with when Saturn comes into the picture. He's the teacher. Okay, he's the karmic teacher. Wants you to get down to the core of who you are and start to make corrections to that is not working well for us in the present time. Because again, when you start to get on the right track, that's when the universe gives you more of what you've been asking for, okay? Or more of what you're supposed to have in the first place, okay? And that's called love, and it's called abundance, okay? So everything that we need, if we are doing the work, we are going to receive compensation because it's our birthright. So just so you know. So here we go. We have Mercury enters Gemini on the 26th in your 10th house. And as I explained before with the Sun in Gemini, this is the house of career. So this can be a time when your focus is on career-related communication, because Mercury is all about communication, okay? Networking, that's Mercury as well. And learning, that's Mercury. You may find yourself engaged in discussions, negotiations, or seeking new knowledge to enhance your professional skills. You may also experience a greater need to express your ideas and opinions in a public setting. So, Mercury is there giving you the sharp precision mind to execute any communication activity that, comes your way. So we have the new moon in Gemini in the 10th house as well. You may show off your intellectual agility and communication skills now. nothing wrong with that. Okay, your public reputation comes through your ability to think, write, or speak. So keep on doing what you're doing. The new moon is all about setting new intentions for, new seeds to grow. So if right now it's in Gemini, so it's going to be all about, your ability to communicate in all of its forms. So good job to you, Virgo rising. And until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Librans out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. I encourage you to listen to my intro because there's more information there that I'm not discussing here in your forecast. Okay, so we're going to move right into May 2nd, where Venus is conjunct Neptune in Aries, and this is happening in your 7th house of relationships, marriage, contractual agreements, negotiations, and open enemies. So you may be ready to embrace vulnerability and authenticity in your partnerships for the sake of experiencing deep and meaningful connections that transcend the ordinary. So when we are talking about this deep energy, we're talking about Neptune because that's what Neptune does. It's a spiritual energy, but it connects us from a deeper place that is more your higher self related, okay? Instead of, the physical, okay? It goes deeper than that. All right, so on the 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio, and this is in your 2nd house of finances, material possessions, self-worth, values, and savings. So during this time, you're invited to assess your self-worth and relationship and your relationship with abundance, okay? Release limiting beliefs around money and embrace a more prospective mindset. No, I'm sorry, embrace a more prosperous mindset. Trust that if you value yourself and your talents, the universe will respond in kind. Yeah, that's what the universe does. So you have to, raise your vibration, Libra rising, and don't settle for less. Ask for more because you deserve it. Okay, and on May the 17th, the Sun conjuncts Uranus in the sign of Taurus in your 8th house. And this is the house of death, transformation, rebirth, psychological issues, sex, trauma, fears, power, and control, partners' finances, debt, taxes, inheritance, and other people's money. Okay? Also, the investments and the occult is also a part of this house. So you may experience sudden changes in your financial situation because Uranus changes things all of a sudden like electricity, a volt, electricity there, okay? And, we never know when it happens. It just happens. So the changes are happening in your financial situation, your shared resources, or intimate relationships. Okay? You may have a strong need for growth and transformation. Asking the hard questions around established beliefs and values will help you to grow. Okay? So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Gemini, and this is happening in your ninth house. And this is the house of religion, philosophy, morality, beliefs, higher education, foreign travel, foreign culture, publishing, and teaching. So we'll talk more about Gemini in a moment because Mercury and the new moon will also join the sun in Gemini on the 26th. But right now I'm going to move to the 25th where Saturn enters Aries in your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, contractual agreements, negotiations, and open enemies. This transit's focus is on long term because of Saturn, okay? Long term commitment and stability in relationships. There is an indication that structured and responsible interactions and partnerships are necessary. Saturn is the boss, and if it's in your 11th house, he's going to make it work. Okay? So your business partnerships may be challenging because of the changes that they have to make to adhere to, this Saturn structure energy. Okay? So just keep that in mind if you have business partners, you might experience some pushback. But Saturn is there. Saturn is going to make what he do happen, period. All right, so on the 26th, we have Mercury entering Gemini in your ninth house of religion, philosophy, morality, beliefs, higher education, higher travel, and foreign cultures, publishing and teaching. Okay, so this transit is good for taking classes, engaging in intellectual pursuits, or taking a trip to a foreign land and exploring other cultures. You may feel very optimistic about the future as well. And that's a good thing in the ninth house because the ninth house is also about spirituality as well. And even if you don't get to take trips, there's always the internet where, you can look at videos of foreign travel because Mercury rules that as well. So we have the new moon in Gemini in your ninth house as well. So you have a thirst for knowledge and the eagerness for understanding life's bigger picture. Well, life bigger questions. Now, you may explore different cultures, philosophies, or religious ideas, and you may find emotional peace by traveling, reading, or learning. Okay, so with this ninth house energy, there is a great amount of space for intellectual growth, okay? And communication expansion. Like I said, we have, Mercury ruling Gemini in your ninth house as well. The sun is in the ninth house as well. And that's your vitality. And the sun wants to show up, okay, in the ninth house. And that's what he does. So, Libra rising, this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello, my beautiful Scorpio risings out there. Welcome to my channel on Magnificent Flow. Astro, okay? I have, I'm changing the platform from one to another. So it's Astro, okay? It was a Magnificent Flow. So, just so you know. And this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. Now we're going to get right into your reading, your forecast, that is. So we're going to start May 2nd. Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries, and this is happening in your 6th house of health, nutrition, daily routine, work, co-workers, subordinates, and your workplace. So this transit encourages you to align your work with your higher purpose and find fulfillment, being of service to others, okay? Now, May 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio in your 1st house of self, personality, physical body, appearances, and dominant traits. The full moon encourages you to release any mask or limiting roles you've been playing and step into your full power. You know, Scorpio's energy is secretive, behind the scenes energy. So, with Pluto in Aquarius now, that rules you, Scorpio, is stepping out into the forefront of things. So, yeah, trust your instincts and make decisions that honor your deepest needs and passions. Fearlessly express your true self. Fearlessly expressing your true self may attract people and opportunities that resonate with your soul's purpose. So this is a big one for you, Scorpio rising, because it's in your 1st house of self. So this is all about you and what you're going to be doing for yourself. So it's time for you to step out and, show up. Okay? So on the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And this happens in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, contractual agreements, negotiations, open enemies. This transit could bring a sudden or new relationship, a shock or radical change in the existing partnership, a need to reevaluate your values and how they manifest in your relationships. Okay. A time of feeling unsettled in your partnerships and the potential for a sudden separation or divorce could happen with Uranus in your 7th house, okay? This transit also encourages you to be true to yourself in your relationships. Look to where you may be suppressing your true needs and desires in your partnerships. Yeah, if you don't look at them for yourself, that's what Uranus does. It's going to create that tower moment. Okay, so that tower moment is going to show where, the roots are not strong enough. So just know that you got to take action towards what you truly want here from your relationships, okay? And ask yourself if if you're getting it. And if not, then there's your answer. So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Gemini in your 8th house of death, rebirth, transformation, intimacy, sex, trauma, psychological issues, fears, power and control, partners, finances, debt, taxes, inheritance, investments, and occult. Okay, so we have Mercury moving into Gemini on the 26th, and the new moon is moving into in Gemini on the 26th. So we're going to have the Sun, Mercury, and the Moon in Gemini, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But we're going to move to the 25th, which is Saturn entering Aries in your 6th house of health, nutrition, daily routine, work, co-workers, subordinates, workplace, okay? This transit requires more effort and discipline. You may have a desire to take on a leadership role or responsibility. Your goal may be to achieve personal growth, okay? But at the same time, you need to take care of your health because this could be a stressful period for you. And Aries is an inflammatory sign, so it could stir up inflammation in your body. So you want to, make sure you check in with your doctor and keep your stress levels down, get your rest, those kinds of things, because Saturn have a tendency of, creating hard work situations for the better. All right, so then we have on the 26th, we have Mercury enters Gemini in your 8th house. Okay, and I've already discussed what that house means with the Sun on the 20th. So we'll move right into the transit. You may take an active role in conversations regarding shared resources. You may be interested in financial matters, investment strategies, or other topics related to resources. Your communication could play a part in transforming your perspectives on your shared finances or deep emotional issues. Okay, we know Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is about communication, okay, of all types, transportation, your car, maintenance, everything communication, that's Mercury, okay? So with that, in that respect, Mercury is in your 8th house, bringing up all these conversations, that you have the opportunity to address. Mercury is also sharp-minded, and investment strategies, you may have that mindset to do some positive things with investments at this time. Okay? Now, your deep emotional issues that you may explore, you have to be careful with Mercury because, when you think too much, you get overload. Okay, so you want to kind of make sure that you're taking time out to kind of relax your mind. And the 8th house is a house of inflammation as well. Okay, so just take note of that. The new moon is in your 8th house as well. So it can cause challenges in your emotional vulnerability and intimacy. Your subconscious fears may be influencing your relationships. So, that's something you want to check in with. This is a good time to speak your truth and address your power and control issues. Yeah, That's an eighth house, story. So, Scorpio rising, and that is, your home house anyway, if it was an Aries rising, because you would be in your eighth house. So, yes, Aries rising, take a look at things there and make sure that you give yourself some downtime on your thought process, because everything don't have to happen so quick fast. You could take your time, try to get some rest, and that's as much as I can say about you staying sane. Okay, so love you, and until next time, Scorpio rising, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Sagittarius risings. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. Now we're going to get right into the forecast. I have an overview, but I did put it in the first part of the video. So if you want to hear more about what's going on this month, look to that first portion, please. Okay? But welcome and thank you for being here. But we're going to get right into it. So there's a full moon. No, there is May 2nd. We have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries in your fifth house of children, pleasure, play, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression. So during this transit, you may be looking for soulful connections that transcends the ordinary. And that's Neptune, that deep, soulful, spiritual energy. And Venus, of course, the goddess of love. So you do want something deep here with Neptune conjuncting. Okay, you may be drawn to creative forms of art, such as music, the arts, or theater. You're encouraged to embrace your inner child and explore your passions with joy and spontaneity. Have fun, Fifth house is all about fun. Some romance could be a pleasurable thing as well. But I didn't share with you that this is my solar return year. So I'm wearing my queenliness crown because I deserve it. Okay? So let's move into May 17th. We have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and that's in your sixth house of health as well. This transit, let me see, did I talk about the sixth house already? No. So the sixth house of health, nutrition, daily routine, co-workers, subordinates, and workplace. Okay. This transit suggests that you may feel the need to change your daily work routines or search for new opportunities that align with your unique skills and values. You may explore new technology options or unconventional methods to improve efficiency in your workplace. Okay? So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Gemini in your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, and contractual agreements, negotiations, and open enemies. I did say marriage. However, the Sun, Mercury, and the new moon will be in Gemini on the 26th. So before I get to that part, I'm going to talk about the 25th, okay? So Saturn enters Aries in your fifth house of children, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, creative expression, and fertility. So this transit may lead to a temporary reduction in spontaneous joy and creative expression. You may approach your creative projects with a greater sense of responsibility. There may be delays or challenges in having or raising children. And this can be, having fertility issues, or if you have children, they may have some special needs, something of that nature could come up. So you may take a practical approach to these fifth house issues to focus on long-term goals rather than fleeting pleasures. Okay, so that includes your hobbies, your children, and your creative expression. These are some of the things that you may be focused on, taking the practical approach. Even with fertility. I mean, if you're trying to have children, you may be doing some practical things that will, as a way to rule out what's not working, that kind of thing. But when you have Taurus, or which one is that? When you have Saturn, Saturn is going to, it has limitations, and it is going to make us, work through step-by-step process of whatever it is that we are focused on in that fifth house. Okay? So on the 26th, we have Mercury that rules Gemini. That is Gemini's ruler in your seventh house of relationships. And of course, Mercury does rule communication of all kinds. Mercury is sharp-minded. Mercury is fast-moving as well. And Mercury doesn't want to, it wants things quick and fast, okay? Not the slow and methodical like, the earth energy. Okay, so then we have, you may find yourself resolving any problems with your partner and business partner, if you have a business partner, at this time, because Mercury and Gemini, they work well, they know how to communicate, they know how to negotiate, and they know how to charm. Gemini knows how to charm its audience as well. It's a good time for deep conversations and debates on controversial topics. However, you may be able to act as a negotiator and compromise maker, because that's that Gemini and Mercury energy. You have the charm that can make your goals easier to accomplish. Okay? So then we have the new moon in the seventh house as well. So you may seek balance and fairness in your relationships. This is a good time to openly discuss your needs and desires in partnerships and set your intentions. You may be open to exploring different types of partnerships as well. And that's that Gemini energy is dual, okay? It's a dual energy. All right, so Sagittarius rising. This is your forecast for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. I don't know why he's taking different colors. It's supposed to have balance. And every time I don't know. So let's see, we have Capricorn, stay with me. Hello, Capricorn rising. Welcome to my channel, Astro, and this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. My video just went out on me for, I don't know, some ungodly reason, so I'm trying this again. So check my intro for the introduction of the month. But this is your forecast for May 2025. So we start out May 2nd with Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries in your 4th house of home, property, childhood, family, parents, ancestors, and retirement years. This transit encourages you to honor your emotional needs and create a nurturing space where you can explore your creativity and spiritual connections. Okay? And then on the 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio in your 11th house of friends, groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuits, social media, social recognition. Okay. Hopes and wishes. During this time, you may experience a heightened emotional awareness that have you rethinking about your relationships and social circles. Releasing old patterns can open up new opportunities for positive change and transformation in your social life. Nurture your friendships and resolve any conflicts and strengthen bonds within your social network. Okay? So on the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and this is happening in your 5th house. And this is the house of children, play, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression. During this time, you may be experiencing high creativity, innovation, fresh ideas, unconventional approaches. You have a strong desire to stand out from the crowd. That's the Sun. Your unconventional ways of thinking may cause sudden changes in your romantic interactions. Okay? You may be experiencing a push and pull between the desire for stability and the need for excitement and change. Yeah, that's Uranus, and in this 5th house, of course, of play and pleasure and having fun, I can see where that push and pull can, be real. So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Gemini in your 6th house of health, nutrition, daily routine, work, co-workers, subordinates, and workplace. Now, the Sun will be meeting Mercury and the new moon in the 6th house on the 26th of this month. So we're going to get right into the 25th, and then we'll move into the 26th. Okay? So on the 25th, we have Saturn enters Aries in your 4th house of home, property, family, parents, childhood, ancestors, roots, retirement years. You may have a strong desire for structure and security in your home environment. You may feel burdened or need to take on more leadership within your family. Okay? This transit encourages you to take care of your emotional stability and heal past wounds within the family or home environment. So, if you are the firstborn, sometimes you need to be the referee, between the parents. So, I mean, it's hard, a hard burden to carry, but sometimes that's what happens, and it's up to you to decide if that's what you want to do or not. Okay, so on the 26th as well, we have the oh, what else did I say? That was that was in Saturn entering Aries. So now we're on the 26th, where we have Mercury in Gemini, and Mercury rules Gemini, and this is happening in your sixth house of health, nutrition, daily routines, work, co-workers, subordinates, and workplace. So during this transit, you may want to be more organized with your activities and work duties. Your work may give you more satisfaction at this time. Communication with coworkers and clients may be easier. It's a good time to plan medical checkup because, there could be a level of stress, and with Mercury and Gemini and that concentrated energy, that nervousness energy shows up. So just take the time out and get a checkup because this is in the house of health for you. Okay? So on the 26th, again, we have the new moon, and that's in the sign of Gemini as well, in your sixth house. So you may be more productive at work or start a new health routine. You may find yourself questioning old habits and look for more sustainable ways of doing things. And that's a good idea for you with all of this energy in your sixth house, because you have the sun, you have Mercury, and you have the new moon in your sixth house. So this is checkup time. Take care of yourself, even though the sun, likes to shine. Taking care of yourself, your vitality, just keeping that, up to par is a good idea. Okay? So Capricorn rising, this is your reading for May 2025. And until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Aquarians out there rising. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl, and this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. Okay, before we get into the forecast, I just want to say the sun, the moon, and Mercury will all be in the sign of Gemini around the 26th of this month. Okay? So let's get right into your reading. On the 2nd, we have Venus conjunct Neptune. And this is in Aries, in your 3rd house of siblings, extended family, neighbors, neighborhood, community, short distance travel, early education, and communication. Okay, so let's see. During this transit, you are encouraged to embrace your creative gifts and share your vision with the world. Okay, you can create connection and inspiration through the power of your expression. Okay, that's a good thing for you, Aquarius rising, because you do have a good communication skill. You do have charming attitude and outlook, and you do know how to connect with people and inspire them spiritually as well. Okay, so on the 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio, and this is in your 10th house of career, public reputation, authority figures, occupation, leadership. You may experience issues with power, authority, and social status within your career arena. There may be hidden power plays and conflicts that may come out in the open. With the full moon, it's going to reveal what's hidden. Significant career changes, transitions, or a deeper understanding of your professional goals may be revealed during this time. Okay, on the 17th, we have the Sun in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 4th house of home, property, family, childhood, parents, ancestry, roots, and retirement years. This transit may prompt a move, change in living arrangements, or a desire to create a home that better reflects your values and personal space. Your awareness of past traumas and family dynamics can lead to self-healing and the freedom from inherited patterns. Unexpected changes or opportunities around finances may show up. Okay, so that's positive growth, I would say. So on the 20th, we have the Sun entering in the sign of Gemini, and this is in your 5th house of children, play, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression. Okay, so I forgot to mention one other thing. I think Jupiter is also in the sign of Gemini right now. We have the Sun, we have the new moon, and we have Mercury and Jupiter all in the 5th house right now. But I believe Jupiter will be leaving soon. So anyway, I will discuss that on the 26th of the month, but we're going to look at the 25th first. Okay, so on the 25th, we have Saturn entering Aries in your 3rd house of siblings. And this is, I've already talked about the extended family, neighbors. Okay, so this may be a transformative time where a change in your mental, spiritual, or physical surroundings may occur in the form of a new job, change in routine, or a move to a new location. Now, this is the second time this is showing up, and hey, that's a good thing. Your communication may become more effective and well structured. You may be learning to be patient and understanding with members of your family. Structure is required, okay, in terms of time management, improving your work habits, and developing a more organized lifestyle. Let's see, that's because we have Saturn in Aries, and this is in your 3rd house. Okay, so on the 26th, we have Mercury entering Gemini in your 5th house. We have the Sun there already, and Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So this is in your 5th house of children, play, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression. You may be inclined to talk about your creative ideas or share your ideas with others. You may also experience confusion from from information overload. Yeah. You may get involved in the stock market as well. Or maybe thinking about it. All right, on that same day, we also have the new moon in Gemini in your 5th house. And let's see, you may have the urge to pursue artistic pursuits hobbies, or other creative projects. You are playful. Okay, sorry. You are playful and flirty now, and you may be inspired to seek out new romantic connections. You may feel more confident and comfortable expressing your individuality and unique talents. You may experience more joy and connection in your family life as well. And that has to do with your children if you have them. Okay? So, Aquarius rising, this is your forecast for May 2025. I hope May brings lots of joy in your life because we have Gemini in the fifth house and a lot of fun for you. Okay? So, until next time, bye for now. Hello to my beautiful Pisces out there. Welcome to my channel on Magnificent Flow. This is, oh, okay. The Magnificent Flow has changed to Astro. And this is your monthly forecast for May 2025. Welcome, welcome. I just want to share with you that this month is my solar return year, the day that I was born, and I'm wearing my queenly crown because I deserve it. Okay, so let's get right into the forecast. Okay, so to begin with, we have the sun, the moon, and Mercury. I didn't check, but I believe that Jupiter is also in Gemini around the 26th of the month. Okay, so that's Gemini energy, Mercury energy. That's, light, lively, fun vibration. So enjoy it. May the 2nd, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries. And this is happening in your second house of finance, material possessions, values, self-worth, and savings. This transit encourages you to collaborate, listen to me, not collaborate, cultivate a sense of abundance and gratitude. Okay, look within and picture the richness and the beauty of your soul rather than material possessions. And this is what I say about this transit is that the more you look within and change, the things that you need to change for yourself, that's where your material wealth comes from. So it's not about the earthly things, it's about the spiritual things. And once you connect spiritually, Pisces rising, then you'll start to see the richness in what you can create and what you can have. But if you're just looking at it from a earthly point of view, that requires hard work and, all of these other connotations around that. Okay? So on the 12th, we have the full moon in Scorpio, and this is happening in your 9th house of religion, philosophy, ethics, beliefs, higher education, foreign travel, and cultures. That's foreign cultures, that is, publishing and teaching. So during this transit, you may be seeking to find knowledge and adventure through uncovering hidden truths and delving into the depths of the human psyche. Your emotions are channeled into philosophical and spiritual pursuits. You may have an intense emotional connection to your beliefs and spiritual practices, and your need for emotional depth and exploration may drive a desire for transformative experiences through travel, education, or cultural immersion. Okay, this is that Scorpio transformative energy that really dives deep, into what makes you tick, you know? So you're here in that higher house of this ninth house of spirituality as well, is where you can connect. You may find a guru. This is where gurus are, in your ninth house, to help you find or gain the knowledge you need to know more about how the world turns. Okay? So on the 17th, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and this is in your third house of siblings, extended family, neighbors, neighborhood, communities, short distance travel, early education, and communication. So during this transit, you may have a sudden change in your perspective or beliefs, or an unexpected opportunity for learning or new study. Okay? You may need to adjust your routine or daily habits. Sudden unexpected changes in your communication, thinking process, and your immediate surroundings. Okay? So with the sudden change, which is Uranus, your daily routines may also, or habits may change as well. So this may be new ideas. It could be a change in your study habits, or a need for a new routine. Okay? And then on the 20th, we have the Sun entering into your fourth house in the sign of Gemini. This is the house of home, property, family, childhood, parents, and retirement years. Okay? Now, we also have Mercury and the new moon moving into Gemini on the 26th. But before we get into the Gemini house, let's talk about the 25th, where we have Saturn entering Aries in your second house of finance, material possession, values, self-worth, and savings. You are encouraged to have some discipline with your finances now. Your beliefs about your self-worth, financial stability, and security may be challenged at this time. That's Saturn. So on the 26th, we have Mercury moving into Aries in your fourth house. And this is also the new moon in your fourth house. So this may be a time to explore your family tree for more info on your lineage, so that you can understand your family patterns. Time to address emotional issues rooted in the past as well. Let's see. You may have thoughts about your living situation, or make changes that creates an environment for emotional support. Yeah, and I can see the having that security, makes us feel safe. So focus on open communication and understanding within your family and home atmosphere. Okay? So this is for you, Pisces rising, and I made it through the readings without my mic going out on me. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And until next time, bye for now.